Good morning and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For anybody that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's here in the house, and then we'll get into this. Mr. DJ Mines, good to see you, buddy. Steven Cicero, Magic Lucky, we got Crypto Frank, Vinny, what's up, man? Big Black, good to see you. Offshore Miner, Nick K, Lawnmower Man, good morning, sir. Chris Hanley, what's up, dude? Good to see you. We have Alvidus. Let's see, Backwards Miner, good morning, sir. Nas City, mining to fill my bags. Everybody I may have missed, I apologize, but let's get into this. Kaspa is killing it today. You guys haven't seen already, DJ Mines is all excited. We have Bitcoin at $68,911. Does anybody else have women in their house? I feel like I have a hair that is just tied in my hair and I can't find it. It's been bothering me for like 30 minutes. I don't know where it is. It's driving me nuts. God, it's like hooked on my body somewhere. All right, Ethereum, sorry, $3,759. Let's see, Kaspa, look at this, up 14.94%. We got 17 cents, dude. This is going to be breaking an all-time high real soon. You guys know what I'm talking about with the little girls and your wife. They shed everywhere. Is that the proper term? Shed? I don't know. Literally, I put on the sweatshirt and I feel like I got hair. Oh, there it is. I just found it. There it is. It's right here. It's proof. You probably can't see it. It's there. I got it. Damn, that was annoying. Oh my God. All right. ADA, 45 cents. We got XRP at 52 cents. We got Solana, 165 bucks. Everything's looking really good, even though we're seeing a bit of red. This is a really good market. Everything's holding real steady. I mean, Pepe, some of the meme coins kind of going crazy, but is what it is. Kaspa, KRC20 tokens, if I'm not mistaken, are really being launched this month. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with Kaspa. So that is the reason for the pump. And honestly, I think it's like every 3 months, Kaspa seems to get another leg up, if I'm not mistaken. All right, looking over here at Crypto Bubbles. On the day, we have a dog, actually, whatever. I have no idea what this is. I've seen it yesterday for a brief moment. 18.9% dog go to the moon. What the hell? What is this? Another meme coin, I assume, obviously. We're at almost a penny at a $941 million market cap. Crazy. Kaspa, again, 14% on the day, 14.7. Brett is up 6.8%. We got Jasmine up 7.7. Let's see, Pepe is down 6%, Bonk's down 7%, Brett is, actually I already said Brett. Let's see, Ton coins up 4.2%, Floki's down 5.4, and hopefully I don't have any internet issues today. Guys, flashbang real quick over here, checking out I knew it, I just heard like a static. Crypto KJ, if it's really giving me issues, please let me know. My internet's messing up last night. I don't know what the deal is. Mr. Banana Republic, appreciate you. Chump, you have the best channel background music, no doubt. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for that. We're looking at a 73 again on the Fear and Greed Index. The same thing as yesterday, and pretty much all last week was like 70, 73-ish. Under 75 is good, at least in my opinion. That's good. We still have nobody really talking about a lot of Bitcoin or crypto stuff, and the price is going up slowly. You know what I mean? Yeah, I heard like a static in my earphones, and that's why I was like, damn, if that's my internet, I'm gonna be really upset. Anyways, moving on to CoinGecko. Look at this, Octaspace in the trending coins. Please stay there. It didn't stay there, damn it. Octaspace is a good, I don't know what this is, to be honest. It's up 4.9% today. Let me know if you guys are into that. 91 cents. We have Sad Hamster, I'm assuming that is another meme coin. And then we got Super Trump. Those two are down. Sad Hamster is down 4.5%, and Super Trump is down 16.3. Let's see, largest gainers. I don't even know how to say that. I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm just going to ignore all three of those. All right, we're going to move on. Top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. We got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, Lido Staked Ether, USDC, XRP, Dogecoin, and Toncoin in 10th place. We have Cardano and Toncoin have actually been fighting for 10th spot. They flipped yesterday, but apparently Toncoin is winning. We have a $16.5 billion market cap versus a $16.1 billion market cap. Let's see, scrolling down a little bit. Let's see where Kaspa's landing right now with this pump. Well, wow, it's in 30th place. Look at that. Hell yeah.
Perfect.
That's sick. We got Render Render is at $10.19. I think this one's going to do well. ETC is actually went through its 5th inning a couple days ago, and it's actually lost a little bit of steam, but it usually has a slight pullback, and then a couple weeks later we usually see a pop. Same thing happened with Octaspace. Actually, what is, I don't even know where Octaspace is on the list. I gotta search it. Hold on, let's see. Octa, let's see, ranked 664th. This is a deep in. Okay, I know it's nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to talk to Steven Cicero. Hold on, let me see. Let me check. Yeah, it's buffering a lot. What in the hell? It says excellent connection though. Is it buffering for everybody? Let me know, please, in the chat. I apologize. All-time high on Octaspace though, we're down 15.2%. All-time high was $2.19. So hopefully this coin has a nice lift off. I think this one will do pretty well, to be honest. It's actually been doing well. Ethash coin, nope, no buffering. All right, good. Thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. I wasn't really sure. All right, let's check out Lithium real quick. I want to see where Lithium's at. I heard there was some news on a new Lithium ASIC yesterday. I don't know how fake or real it is, but it was on Twitter. I put it in my Hodl Gang chat. If anybody wants to put the link in the chat, please feel free. I don't remember where it is, to be honest. I don't have it up. But $1.59 over here on a Lithium. If that ASIC comes out, this is gonna go to absolute shit. Mark my words. It's gonna kill this project. I mean, I don't know if it'll kill it, but it'll go. It's gonna go way down. The price appreciation is not gonna happen. It's just gonna force the project down. There's really nothing you can do about it either, because people are just gonna mine it and sell it. So whatever, I guess we're gonna have to see. But I did have high hopes for Lithium, but I'm not sure where we're gonna end up. All right, moving on to the mining segment of things. I got a few things I want to watch today. You guys know I like to timestamp this stuff. Looking at the KS5 Pro 21 terahash unit, looking like $103.69 a day. Perfect. Again, this is after paying 10 cents per kilowatt hour. You got the KS5 20 terahash unit making $98.75. The KS5M 15 terahash unit making $71.31. The KS5L 12 terahash unit making $55.41. Again, these miners, yes, they're making a lot a day, but I'm gonna be honest, I would wait until they came out with a new miner. I know they just dropped the KS0 Ultra. That miner, it's 400 gigahashes if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, it's pretty cheap considering, but at the same time, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. My discount code does work. I think it's Chump if I'm not mistaken, but I would recommend just buying the Kaspa if you guys are going to get into Kaspa. Just, yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm a miner at heart. Absolutely love it. Audio's cutting out. Oh, God, I hope no. I hope not. God, I knew this was going to be a rough day. This internet's been kicking my ass. But yeah, I don't know. You guys do what you want, obviously. Just be safe about it. Oh, by the way, this is the thank you Crypto KJ for grabbing that. This is the Antminer Lithium 8 terahash unit, 3200 watts, 10 grand. I don't know if this is legit or not, but yeah, I would assume it's legit. I hope. Anyways, release date August 2024, so we're gonna have to see what happens there. I don't know if that comes out. The Lithium's gonna die a slow death, unfortunately. What the fuck was that? Oh God, I gotta X that out. All right, anyways, all right, let's get back into this. We got the Dragon Ball miner. This is the same as the BMKS Max, both 11 terahash units, making 47.47 a day. We got the Wind Miner K9 10.3 terahash unit, making 46.65. The Ice River KS3 34.70. The Lithium Gold Shell box has been pushed down to the 11th place. It's still making 30 bucks a day though. 30 bucks a day. That's still pretty good, to be honest, even with the price of lithium being down. But again, if that big unit comes out, man, these things are going to go to total sham, if I could speak right. 6 terahash unit, 2363. All right, Bitmain Antminer L7 9050. You guys know I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them, paying 10 cents kilowatt hour, or 9.5 actually. We have $12.78 merge mining Litecoin and Doge, which is awesome. So most of your profits are actually in Doge on this unit. Let's see. Still pretty impressive though. It's been holding up pretty well. We got the 2 terahash unit KS2 Ice River, $7.72 a day. That's awesome. That's way better than it has been in a while, actually. Gold Shell KA box, 1.18 terahashes, $5.29 a day. That's perfect. Yeah, you know what? I just paid my internet bill. God damn it. There's nothing I can do with it though. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to disconnect my Ubiquiti. It's been like giving me shit all night actually. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can get into my Ubiquiti quick. Are you nuts? Pause, please. Let me see. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. It says it's all right, but I know it's being sketchy. It's weird because I'm hardwired too. I don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to shut everything off after this stream. That's terrible. Well, hopefully we can stick through it. If we can't, I apologize. You guys don't have to hang around. I totally understand. All right, the Ice River KS0 Ultra. Look at this on the list now. $1.85 a day. This is only 100 watts, so this unit's pretty awesome. But at the same time, is it worth buying? Probably not. I'm just gonna be honest. Probably not. Payback time's 8 months, basically. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Weird. All right, KS0 Pro, we got 80 cents a day. Dude, that's awesome actually. I'm actually gonna go get those plugged in today. My solar stuff's been killing it too. The actual panels, the whole setup that I have now has been running great with just the time of year. It's like you get the most sun during the day as of right now, so it's actually yeah, I'm probably gonna get all of my KS0s on. I have 10 of them in the solar trailer, you guys know that, and I'm still waiting on my solar panels so I can build that damn gazebo for the new setup, and that is going to be absolutely insane once that ends up shipping, so I'm just waiting. All right, KS0, the original, 37 cents a day. That's kind of bad, but at the same time, we were expecting these things to go to zero. Bitmain S19K Pro, look at that, 120 terahash unit. After paying 10 cents kilowatt hour, I'm still making 5 cents a day. 824 months, 24 and a half to be exact months for payback. Oh, I'm already into it. There we go. It's literally been crashing though. Like last night, it kept saying like went offline, rebooted. I kept getting the notifications on my phone, and I'm like, what is going on with my internet? I don't know. They must be doing some road work or something. Anyways, the 4090 Ironfish and Pyron seems to be the top of the charts today. Ironfish and some sort of dual mining it or whatever. We have Pyron on the 4080 Super. How's Pyron doing actually? Let's see. Pyron's doing kind of crappy. Let's go to the month chart. I want to see where it's at. Oh man, this has been taking a hit. 2 cents, almost 3 cents, but damn, it dipped down to like 2.5. Man, well, hopefully that comes back, because Pyron's been actually a really good over on Mineable. I've been putting a lot of my stuff over there, obviously mining Zealous on the other side of things, but selling that for a profit. Let's see. Steven Cicero, shut up. Telephone polls stuff. All right, and yes, it does work like that, you dope. If they're fixing boxes, then your internet could be messed up. Actually, you know what, your internet could be interfered if you have high electrical lines too close to your internet lines. So if a bracket broke and they're touching or coming close to each other, it can cause interference. You're in Verizon, you should know this. You're a mess. All right, NVIDIA RTX 3080 12 gigabyte mining Zealous seems to be the most profitable as of right now. Conflux and Pyron, nice. Chlor, look at Chlor. What's Chlor popping? Chlor, let's see, 16 cents. How are we looking? Last month it's down a bit, 3 months. All right, so it's taking a bit of a hit actually. I wonder if a lot of people pulled off it and that's why it's profitable. I bet I could prove you wrong, Steven Cicero. I'll do it after the stream. My buddy's a lineman. All right, let's see. We have the AMD 6800. Looks like it is Chlor, Ironfish, and Husat. We have Xano on the 3070 Ti laptop. Please don't mind your laptops. That's terrible. Dynex on the 3090 Ti. How's Dynex looking? We're going to get into the news in a second. I just want to check all these prices of coins. 56 cents. Dynex is really taking a shit though the last couple months. Man, over $1 down to 56 cents. Jeez. Let's go to Flux. Flux, I want to see what Flux is at. 93 cents. Flux has actually been doing pretty decent. Oh, if you guys are interested in Flux nodes, by the way, check out Terra Hosting. They do host Flux nodes now. And actually, they've been doing it for a while, but yeah, it's like stupid cheap. So if you guys are interested in doing that, you don't need your own equipment. You're holding your Flux anyways. Just send it over there. Be easy to do. All right, moving on. Mining pool stats.stream. Let's see. We got new coins. What do we got? Nothing. Cobra Dag is still the top coin here. 6 days ago. I feel like this is older than 6 days, but Pyron Hash. All right, same thing. I don't think there's anything. I don't know what this one is. Infinitum? Is that how you say that? Prog Pows? Weird. All right, anyways, upcoming events. 10 days Gold Cash is going through halving. 0.25 to 2.125 over here for their block reward reduced, right? We have CAU going to a hard fork, or its hydro fork, whatever that is. And then I still don't understand this whole Pepe coin. People are saying it's not the right Pepe. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But anyways, that's in 24 days if anybody's interested. 500,000 to 250,000. All right, moving on to the news segment of things. Billionaire Bitcoin investor Michael Saylor settles DC tax fraud case for $40 million. Oh boy, what's going on here? Let's see.
Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy and a longtime Bitcoin bull, settling a tax fraud case. Kate Rooney here with all the details. Kate?
Hi there, Kelly. Yeah, so this was a tax fraud case in Washington, D.C. Michael Saylor and the company he founded, MicroStrategy, agreed to pay a $40 million fine in what amounted to the largest income tax recovery settlement in the district's history. The suit was filed by the Office of the Attorney General and alleged that Saylor illegally evaded more than $25 million in D.C. taxes over the course of 15 years. The AG says Saylor claimed to be living in lower tax states like Virginia and Florida, which notably has no state individual income tax. The AG claims Saylor was actually living in a D.C. penthouse full-time overlooking the Potomac River, where they say he was docking multiple yachts, and that Saylor, quote, openly bragged about his tax evasion scheme, contending that anyone who paid taxes to the district was stupid. MicroStrategy, the software company he founded and is still the chairman of, is also implicated here. The AG claims the company failed to pay the corporate taxes required for employing D.C. residents. This company got its start in software, but it's really become a proxy for Bitcoin since Saylor started buying up the cryptocurrency to hold on MicroStrategy's balance sheet. He denies those allegations.
Yeah, this is still at 1.2, damn it. Sorry.
Allegations, though, saying, quote, Florida remains my home today, and I continue to dispute the allegation that I was ever a resident of the District of Columbia. I have agreed to settle this matter to avoid the continued burdens of the litigation on my friends, family, and myself. Kelly and Tyler, back over to you.
But no direct impact to MicroStrategy that we could see otherwise?
Yeah, it is sort of, still trading like a Bitcoin proxy, and it's interesting. Nothing really about Bitcoin mentioned here. It's just sort of a good old-fashioned tax fraud issue, and yeah, it seems to be resilient here, not taking much of a hit.
Bitcoin just often pops up in that context.
That's crazy. So he just paid it to like get rid of the burden. That's nuts. Yeah, this is sped up by the way to 1.2. Just so you guys know. If it's too fast, let me know. All right, Nvidia closes at another record high. Let's see what they got to say over here. Again, CNBC television. Let's do it.
Outperforming today with the Nasdaq up 0.5%, helped along by Nvidia, which rose nearly 5% after announcing a new suite of AI chips over the weekend and closing out its own record high. Joining us now is T. Rowe Price, Global Technology Fund Portfolio Manager, Dom Rizzo. Nvidia is the fund's largest holding. So naturally, Dom, we're going to start the conversation there, especially as we have seen this bifurcation between semiconductors and software in this new AI era and investor skepticism about where the money's flowing right now, at least in the near term.
First off, great to see you, Morgan. Yeah, I think Computex laid out a lot of really interesting innovations that's happening all across AI this weekend, whether it's AI in the data center and the one-year refresh cycles that we're going to see out of NVIDIA and AMD, or it's AI at the edge and the AI PCs that we're going to see. But look, if we look at this earnings season, as you know, we've been bullish digital semis and bullish on NVIDIA throughout the entire year. And I think we've seen a few thesis confirming data points. First off, and probably most importantly, hyperscale CapEx is probably going to be up close to 50% this year. A lot of that is flowing into NVIDIA. And if we look at the NVIDIA earnings numbers, the street started the year estimating that in fiscal 26, NVIDIA would earn roughly $23 in earnings per share. Now that number's $33. So we've seen the earnings beats come through to prove it. And so the stock's trading at roughly 33 times earnings, which I think is a pretty reasonable multiple.
So we were just having this conversation earlier in the show, and that is this idea of NVIDIA being the Magnificent One. Forget Magnificent Seven. NVIDIA is sort of in a class of its own right now. Do you see it the same way? Or is it time to, especially as we do see the headlines coming out of Computex, for example, is it time to start to diversify away and make bets in other places as well?
Well, there's two kind of different pieces to this. One is the entire digital semi ecosystem, and that continues to benefit from NVIDIA doing so well. These are names like TSM, Samsung, Integris, and even AMD. I think the market's big enough for both of them. You know, we're talking about a $400 billion AI chip market. NVIDIA will be the leader, but I think AMD has a real opportunity to be a credible second source. But when we look at software and we see some of the things that happened this earnings season, we saw really small revenue misses in guidance result in meaningful stock price reactions. So we saw Salesforce.com, less than a 1% move in their guidance resulted in a 20% move in the stock. And I think that tells you a few things. It tells you something about positioning, it tells you something about valuations, but it also tells you something about what people are worried about, which is terminal value risk and what AI means for the software ecosystem.
Well,
so
I wanted to ask you more about that because you like ServiceNow. ServiceNow right now, after last week, now its earnings were pretty strong. It didn't report last week, but ServiceNow is at 6-month lows right now. It's in the middle of the 12-month range as people got freaked out about Salesforce and others. You also like SAP. That hasn't run as much, but it's also off the highs. So is that a rational reaction based on how high some of these software stocks have gotten, or is there something else going on? Because you look at the WCLD, it's down around 30 right now, and so many of the smaller software stocks that supposedly have multi-cloud or AI promise are not performing well at all.
Yeah, I think the question that's ROI out the gate, unlike many other software that you could see. And so that's why we haven't seen the crowding out effect from GPU spend hit ServiceNow like we've seen at other application software companies. But yeah, no, the IGV, the software index, has struggled a bit, and we've seen it derate from 9 times sales 3 years ago to 7 times today.
All right, shout out to them. Let's see. Moving on to hedge fund manager Mark Yusko sees signs of very unhealthy markets. Warns stocks are overvalued. What do you guys think about this? Let's see what they got to say.
One hedge fund manager.
I actually like Mark Yusko also, so that's kind of, let's see what he says.
Sees indicators of an unhealthy market. Mark Yusko is CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Morgan Creek Capital. He managed about $1.5 billion in assets. Mark, great to have you with us. We're just talking about NVIDIA, and I'm just curious what you make of that action, that kind of action, if it signifies anything about this market.
All right, it's back down to normal speed real quick. Mine to fill my bags. Thank you so much for the $2 Canadian super chat. He said, thank you for the great show daily. Never miss it, dude. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I think it signifies a lot about the market. I think you guys summed it up really well. Look, I am young enough or old enough to remember when Intel went up 20-fold, not 20%, 20-fold in a little over a year in 2000 because their chip was going to revolutionize AI. Right? AI is an 80-year overnight success story, and we're seeing it again. So today, Intel's 40% lower than it was 24 years ago. I don't know.
Thank you
so
for
in
a great show, David.
Why is that thing reading it? Dude, I gotta fix that. Sorry, I didn't expect that thing to start talking.
Counts you own NVIDIA.
No, we own it, and we have owned it, but we trim into strength. We've owned it for a long time. And look, I think right now the most important thing, Melissa, in all of investing is discipline. Disciplined rebalancing, taking your profits on things that are running, rotating into other things. Now, look, the passive industry is exacerbating the momentum effect. Every single day, the passive indices, where the 401k money goes in every 2 weeks, they don't get a choice to say, is NVIDIA expensive or cheap? Doesn't matter. They have to buy it. And the bigger it gets, the more they have to buy. That works until it doesn't.
Yeah, Mark, I'm with you on that. We talk about that a lot, and I appreciate you bringing it up. But part and parcel with that is the dampening of volatility to what I think is extraordinary is a little maybe hyperbolic, but interesting levels given everything that's going on in the world. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I think that's a really, really insightful point. that dampening of volatility is normal when everyone's doing the same thing. And everyone's doing the same thing because the capitalization weighting mechanism forces it. So as the percentage of passive money, and remember, it's not passive, it's slow active. Over the last 30 years, 85% of the S&P has rolled over. It takes a while, but it does roll over. So I think volatility is interesting in that people fear it, yet volatility is your friend. What you want to do is own volatile assets that are uncorrelated with one another, because all volatility is disagreement about the future prospects for a company.
So one of those assets for you is our digital assets, Mark. I mean, you think digital assets, cash and gold are the way to go for the next 12 months? What does that say about your outlook for the markets?
So look, I think you guys have done a great job breaking this down. You know, I was in the waiting room last week before the Trump news broke, so they kind of moved me to today. But I was listening to the breakdown of valuation across the markets. I mean, 27 times trailing earnings. We haven't seen very many times in history. So that's why I think discipline is really important. And cash is a choice, right? It's an asset that today yields about 5% while you wait. It gives you the buying power to buy things when they go on sale. Human beings do two things really, really well. We buy what we wish we would have bought, and we sell what we're about to need. Commodities broadly, despite the fact that they're making new highs every day, are at the cheapest price to paper assets they've ever been. And, you know, in the kids game, right, paper beats rock. But in real life, rock beats paper. So we favor commodities. And you know how I feel about digital assets. Digital assets, to me, everyone needs to have some in their portfolio. They add diversification benefits because they're uncorrelated, because they don't derive their value from the same thing as traditional financial assets. That was actually a great analogy. Paper beats rock, and then in reality, rock beats paper.
And one last question, Mark. Do you think that the volatility in digital assets will be dampened as more and more ETFs are approved?
Again, really, really great point. Absolutely. If you think about $58 billion of, you know, mostly retail and advisory money coming into this space, and as they call it, the boomer wrapper, right? So you don't have to deal with hardware, you don't have to deal with software, you don't have to deal with self-custody. You can just buy an ETF just like anything else in your portfolio. I think that number goes to 300 billion over the next couple of years from the 58 today. I think that will dampen volatility. I think it'll lead to much higher prices.
Damn. Well, shout out to Mark Yusko for that. All right, moving on to Crypto World CNBC. Bitcoin jumps back above 69,000. Obviously, that was yesterday. What's it at right now? Real quick. That's actually just about there, so pretty close. And then DC settles Michael Saylor tax fraud lawsuit. Let's see what they got to say over here about this whole thing. Let's do it.
Today, DC's Attorney General says MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor agreed to a $40 million settlement over a tax lawsuit. President Biden vetoes a resolution overturning SEC crypto accounting guidance. And Mike Novogratz of Galaxy Digital sits down with us at Consensus 2024, reacting to the sudden shift in crypto politics in the U.S.
Eat shit, Gary. You are a loser. You always lose.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Jordan Smith. Cryptocurrencies are mixed coming out of the weekend, with Bitcoin rising 2.2% by noon Eastern. It's trading above $69,000, up 3% in the first 3 days of June. Ether, on the other hand, is flat for both the day and the month so far, trading just below $3,800. And Solana is just slightly in the red, trading at $164. All right, let's talk about the top stories. President Biden vetoed a repeal of the SEC's Staff Accounting Bulletin, or SAB 121. The controversial piece of accounting guidance tells financial institutions holding digital assets for customers to keep the assets on their own balance sheets. In this statement on Friday afternoon, the president announced the veto, writing, quote, "By virtue of invoking the Congressional Review Act, this Republican-led resolution would inappropriately constrain the SEC's ability to set forth appropriate guardrails and address future issues. This reversal of the considered judgment of SEC staff in this way risks undercutting the SEC's broader authorities regarding accounting practices." Biden said his administration will not support measures that jeopardize the well-being of consumers and investors. Biden also—
God, that is such bullshit. That is so stupid.
Also doubled down on his previous comments on wanting to work with Congress on a comprehensive
They've been helping you guys,
framework
right?
for digital assets. The veto
I think they've just been fining us. They're fining people and just taking money. That's all they want.
came on the same day banking groups sent a letter to President Biden asking him to sign the resolution to overturn SAB 121, which passed both chambers of Congress last month, with the Senate voting 60 to 38 in favor of the resolution. Next, Michael Saylor agreed to a multi-million-dollar settlement with the District of Columbia in what the district's Attorney General's office calls the largest income tax fraud recovery in D.C. history. Today, D.C. AG Brian Schwab announced MicroStrategy's executive chairman and the company he co-founded will pay $40 million to resolve the tax fraud lawsuit filed by his office. That lawsuit alleged Saylor had defrauded the district of more than $25 million in income taxes. The AG's office says this lawsuit is the first of its kind brought under updates to the D.C. False Claims Act. It details how Saylor, who lived in the district since at least 2005, allegedly pretended to live in lower tax jurisdictions in an effort to avoid paying taxes on hundreds of millions of dollars of income. In a statement, MicroStrategy told us that this was a personal tax matter involving Saylor and that the company will not be obligated to make a financial contribution to the settlement. Last, Coinbase is pouring another $25 million into digital asset super PAC Fairshake as the industry continues to grow its support of crypto-friendly political candidates. In a blog post today, CEO Brian Armstrong wrote that Coinbase plans to continue investing as crypto rules take shape around the world, because it's a key part of how the company defends its customers' rights and advances economic freedom. Last week, Ripple donated another $25 million to Fairshake, doubling the blockchain firm's initial contribution of $25 million last year. The next day, the Web3-focused crypto venture firm Andreessen Horowitz also pumped another $25 million into the PAC. Chris Dixon, A16Z Crypto's managing partner, wrote on X last Thursday that the latest contribution brings A16Z's total donations to Fairshake and related entities to $47 million. He wrote that, as an industry, we need to keep up the momentum and show that the US can lead in creating the next wave of blockchain innovation. All right, let's continue our coverage of Consensus 2024 in Austin, Texas for our main story. Last week, Crypto World's Mackenzie Sigalos sat down with Mike Novogratz, founder and CEO of Galaxy Digital, to discuss Washington's shift in support for the crypto industry, along with institutional adoption of crypto now that spot Bitcoin ETFs have been trading for nearly 5 months.
A lot of people feel like they've gotten whiplash in the last few weeks. The SEC having this reversal in its stance on spot ETH ETFs, a lot of legislation, positive pro-crypto legislation winding its way through Congress.
So I feel like we watched so many of these yesterday. Did we watch this one yesterday? I can't even remember. Let me know, please.
Help me read the tea leaves here. What's going on, AGC?
Like, if this is whiplash, I want more of it. Listen, what happened was really simple. On the same day, Joe Biden came out and said, I'm going to veto this arcane piece of accounting legislation from the SEC that's pro-crypto. Donald Trump got on stage and said, there are a lot of people that love this crypto stuff. I'm going to be your crypto president. And Twitter went wild. And the crypto community, which for years has been saying we need bipartisan solutions, finally said enough. I tweeted something I thought funny. That was, there are more crypto owners than dog owners. And what are the Democratic Party? We're the party that hates dogs. And really quickly, Mark Cuban was on Twitter.
That's funny.
A roar of people on the left saying, what are we doing?
Real quick, DJ Death Star, thank you so much for $5 super chat. Make no mistake, it's all about keeping the common man/woman from sucking the teat of the government. They can't control you if they can't crypto. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. You're awesome.
And politicians respond. They want to get reelected. And so you first had this accounting SAB 121 vote. We saw 9 influential senators cross over. And that was a big surprise, including Senator Schumer. Thanks, Chuck. But great, because he's the leader of the Democratic Senate. And then you had the SEC out of nowhere call up all the applicants and say, oh, we're going to get this ETF done. I don't have inside info, but I would suspect someone at the Biden White House said, we got to diffuse this issue, called the SEC and said, change your damn mind.
Yeah, and we also saw a lot of Democrats change their stance with respect to Fit 21, which passed the House last week. More than 70 shifted over.
That was an awesome shift. And so for me, it's game over. People have finally got it. This should not be political. The Democrats don't want to lose an election over something as stupid as a new technology that's good for the country. It had been Elizabeth Warren really with her anti-crypto army as the blocker, and she's got a lot of power. And these last 2 weeks have been horrible to be Elizabeth Warren because the Senate and the House broadly rebuked her and said, Elizabeth, enough. You're costing us this damn election. Shut up.
Yeah, and it does seem like voters care about it a lot more than they did in the last presidential cycle. A Harris poll showing that 1/3 of voters care about the political stance on crypto.
I remember when abortion used to be the hot issue. They're these single issue voters. Not all the 55, 67, or there are 85 million crypto users. What if 20% are single issue voters? That's 17 million single issue voters that aren't necessarily left or right to start with, right? You've got libertarians that love Bitcoin, but you've got progressives that should love crypto that cuts out the middleman. And so it's not an inherently political technology.
5 months into the spot Bitcoin ETFs, roughly $58 billion in assets under management across all of those funds. My question, though, is more about the institutional interest. So I was going through all those 13F filings, looking at which banks newly had exposure to Bitcoin through this spot ETF. And it's not a lot. Morgan Stanley, $270 million. Not all the banks have exposure. And the ones that do say that this is more a reflection of what their wealth management clients are asking for, not an endorsement by the bank of this asset.
But you wouldn't expect a lot of banks to put Bitcoin or Google stock on their balance sheet.
Hedge funds aren't really jumping in as much.
Hedge funds are mixed. Some hedge funds have huge positions. Often those are arbitrage positions. Listen, we're seeing movement. Prices are significantly higher in crypto than they were 3 months ago, trading close to the highs. And that's with interest rates giving us no love, right? At the beginning of the year, we thought the Fed was going to cut 5 to 6 times. Now they haven't cut it all and don't look like they've cut. And so the crypto markets are strong because we have this sentiment shift. Crypto is now an asset class. It will be next year. It will be forever. And it wasn't that way 2 years ago. There was risk around the asset class, and it's been de-risked. And so every day, some Morgan Stanley salesman is picking up a
De-risked to a point.
phone and trying to sell one of his high net worth clients crypto. And you're just going to see a constant drip of money come into this space, and prices go higher, especially as long as the government keeps spending.
I mean, you are a macro guy. You mentioned the fact that, interest rate cuts don't seem like they are in the cards this year. Are you anticipating any sort of...
Listen, we could have a cut in September if all of a sudden growth slows and you get a little bit of inflation. But we're not going to get the 5, 6, 7 cuts.
And to your point, usually you had Bitcoin track those decisions so closely, and they've just, broken free of that.
But same with gold, same with silver. The markets are telling us that we should be damn scared about what the government is doing with our deficit. Right? We're adding $1 trillion of debt every 100 days to our giant pile of $36 trillion in debt. If you're a Wall Street, or if you're Stan Druckenmiller or Ray Dalio, that's existential to this country. And in an election year, no one's going to talk about it. But we've got a populist left president, and we had a populist right president, and now he's a candidate. And so, populism isn't good for fiscal, stewardship. Populism spends. And when you're spending like that, assets like Bitcoin are going to go higher.
You've been talking about the herd is coming. That's your catchphrase. Said that a few years ago. We have seen more institutions come into the space. I mean, you come from Goldman yourself. You work with a lot of major institutional names from the TradFi world. What's the sentiment? What are people not saying publicly, but they feel about the asset
They are
class?
waiting for the endorsement from Congress through a bill like Fit 21, through a market infrastructure bill that gives them clarity. No bank that makes as much as JP Morgan or Goldman wants to put any reputation at risk on a new technology when the rules aren't clear. And so if SAB 121 gets wiped out, you'll see places like Bank of New York and State Street enter custody. That'll make those places feel more comfortable. But we need the full endorsement from Congress, SEC, and the Fed. And then you're going to see a stampede of those guys into our space. My business is going to be harder because the competition is going to go way up, but it's going to bring a lot of assets in.
Predictions for the end of the year. Are we going to see this legislation actually get passed into law? Are we going to see a turnover in the White House? Are we going to see Gensler out?
Listen, I think Gensler is going to be gone at the end of the year, one way or the other, or at the beginning of next year. If Biden or Trump wins, Gary has probably served plenty of time at the SEC. I think the election, we're going to literally go to bed on election night not knowing who's going to win. Right? There's six or seven swing states. They're all going to be tight. Right now, they're all trending Trump's way. But in those last couple months, both parties spent $1 bazillion in those states courting those independent voters And I just really believe it's going to be one of those, I can't believe we're going to bet again, not knowing who's going to win. I think crypto prices are going to be higher. There's a 40% chance we get legislation this year. You're going to have the Senate put together its counterparty. Remember, like House passes bills, Senate makes laws. And so they take each little piece of it a little more seriously. You mush those two things together. I do think Senator Schumer will put it to a vote if they do that, and President Biden wouldn't veto it. And so the path is clear. And if it doesn't happen this year, it'll happen early next year.
All right, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow with a conversation.
All right, shout out to CNBC Television for that. Let's move on to the videos of the day. I want to start off Crypto Zombie. Bitcoin now, something insane is happening, but no one's talking about it. And you know what? It's kind of funny because nobody really has been talking about crypto the last month. Obviously, sell in May and go away is typical sentiment. So let's see what he's got to say over here. Let's do it.
I think we're so early still. Retail has not arrived. The institutions really haven't arrived yet. We're going so much higher. You reach an inflection point where it just feeds on itself and cannot be stopped. It's that gradually then suddenly moment. It's going to feel like a much more compressed timeline than what people are expecting.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, I wanted to make a video today because I just got to say something that's been on my mind, and that's the fact that we have literally had one of the most bullish months in cryptocurrency's history, and yet no one is talking about it. In fact, if you just look at where we are right here on the charts, Bitcoin is only sitting about roughly 6 to 8%, depending on where you're looking, away from its all-time high, probably closer to around 6%, and yet people are just not interested. They're not.
It is kind of weird. It is kind of weird. Iowa Crypto Mining, thank you very much for being a member for 14 months. Say good morning. You rock. Pockets better. Have a good day. Appreciate you, buddy. Hey, by the way, awesome. I saw I think it was a tweet you put out yesterday. All the electrical came for your container you got going. If you guys are interested in hosting, obviously either Terra Hosting or you reach out to Iowa Crypto Mining. He's actually starting his own hosting container, I guess, which is pretty cool. So go check it out.
Talking about Bitcoin and crypto. You're not hearing anybody even care about what's going on right now. Now, you could say that this means that we're early, or that, you know, the majority of the retail is not here yet. But what I want to discuss is that we actually have some major bullish accumulative moves that we can actually prove right now. We can show that there has been massive accumulation, and I'm going to let you know why. We are about to potentially see an absolute massive tidal wave of inflows into Bitcoin and crypto. And yet again, absolute silence. Crickets. No one is talking about it. So you're going to want to stick around to the end of this video today because we got a lot to go over, my friends. In fact,
it's the best time to get in, though, when nobody's talking about it.
Just have a look right here, you know, talking about just some bullish structure. So look at this. We had this downward sloping trend, and look, Bitcoin broke above it. It's actually held on this. We started forming another pennant right here, and currently, you know, if I zoom in, this is the only daily candle that has actually come out of this pennant, and look at how big that move is, right? In fact, we told you about this very significant uptrend, and, you know, we're kind of running out of time. And once Bitcoin breaks this, well, I've showed you we have some very interesting price targets. In fact, the only reason why I think right now we're not seeing a massive, basically new all-time high is just because the stock market, the S&P specifically, has opened a little bit red this week. So we have a lot to go over today. I'm going to show you absolute proof that it is about to get crazy, even though I know everyone is so bored. Although really, these are the times for accumulation. Bitcoin basically at all-time highs. Nobody cares. Okay, well, let's dive in. Let's have a look. But before I do, percent off if you want to pay with cash. Digital.
All right, I had to jump over that. Let's continue.
Asset investment products have seen their 4th consecutive week of inflows, attracting $2 billion in May. Nobody cares. Nobody's talking about it, okay? This is what I'm saying. You know, this is why I have a feeling that the max pain, especially for these bears, is gonna be to the upside, because it's just no one is paying attention to it right now. And I'm gonna show you that while everyone is bored, you know, the views on the channel have gone down, you've seen people ignoring crypto, this is what you need to pay attention to.
Views lately have been horrible all around for like everybody, all YouTubers.
Because they have been accumulating. Crypto funds registered 185 million in inflows last week, amounting to $2 billion in May and 15 billion in 2024. Bitcoin continued to attract investor confidence with inflows of 148 million, whereas Bitcoin short products only faced outflows of about 3.5 million, indicating a sustained positive sentiment among the ETF investors. Now, I am going to get to more of the TA in a bit, but I wanted to really quick turn it over to just a very quick segment on Eric Crown's crypto channel, and he actually explains that there is undeniable proof that Bitcoin is being accumulated, not distributed, at these levels.
In today's video, we're going to be going over some undeniable proof that Bitcoin is being accumulated above the $60,000 level. And what does that mean for the long term? Well, that is the focus of today's video. And other than that, whenever we have a new monthly, I do want to check in on the accumulation and distribution indicator, which we do have the new tick on this one, of course, for June. And as you can see, the upside curvature remains, suggesting that May, we actually did see May was the month prior. May we did see accumulation, and overall Bitcoin still on an upwards trajectory here. So realistically, as far as what I'm looking at is, more as long as this remains constant. Why am I focusing so much on this? Because every time that we have seen this with a positive slope in Bitcoin's history, those have been your long-running bull markets. And anytime that we've seen that positive upside slope turn from an upside slope to a downside slope in kind of like the extreme zones for this indicator, that is actually marked off very close to, if not the exact macro top for Bitcoin. So in this particular case, as long as this, again, remains the upside, which it is in June, still have to be looking to the north side.
And according to Trey Sellers and Sam Callahan, they were having a discussion over on Swan, and they pretty much are in the boat saying that we could potentially still be very, very early. And here is why: the inflows could start to ramp up tremendously.
But we're still so early in this cycle.
I agree. I think we are very early. I don't think retail more broadly is here, or at least
no way.
No new entrants, I would say. And the first wave of ETF buying was mostly retail investors. I think it just takes time for these institutional investors to wrap their heads around. There's like due diligence they have to do from a compliance standpoint on any kind of new ETF products. It just takes time, which makes me extremely bullish. And you're just starting to see like these MicroStrategy copycats come out now.
Yeah.
And a lot of these companies are sitting on a lot of cash. And I think they're going to continue to start to, like, the light bulb's going to go off, especially when you look at MicroStrategy and the stock performance there, and they start to ask questions like, what the heck's going on over there?
Yeah, it's one thing to have one eccentric dude who's out there like buying up a bunch of Bitcoin and taking on debt and leveraging the capital markets to, build this massive position in MicroStrategy. It's a whole other thing if there start to become these copycats who are doing very much similar strategy and are also performing very well. Like, that starts to become something that CEOs and boards of directors can't ignore. They have to start at least asking the question, hey, should we consider doing something like this? Should we maybe dip our toe in? It can't be called an anomaly anymore, or, oh, this guy got lucky, after multiple companies are doing the same thing.
Very true. Pension funds. I mean, it just starts again. It's the game theory. It's the awareness. It's just like trickles, but then turns into a flood pretty quick. And so I do think we're really early. And the fact of the matter is, we're still hovering around the previous all-time high. To me, like, the bull run really gets started when you kind of break that with momentum, and you really get into price discovery. Right now, we're just kind of consolidating around the previous all-time high. And so I know it kind of feels like we've had this crazy big rally over the last year, and it's gone up from like 17,000 to where we are now. But really, I don't even think, I think if you're here and you've enjoyed that, like, good for you. But I still think we have a ways away in terms of this cycle, which gets me excited.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going so much higher.
So remember we had explained this, that once you have the first person, getting their toes wet, Saylor, he's the crazy person, right? Or Elon Musk is the crazy person. But then once you start to see these guys putting it on the balance sheet, or you see the ETFs, and then you have some of these institutions getting involved, and now they have this track record that they can then go to their clients, okay? This is when you get that snowball. This is when the avalanche begins. And if you thought that what we saw was that was it, even though it was the most successful ETF launch of all time for Bitcoin, I can guarantee you that there is a lot more to come. Now, just outside of that, okay, just talking about last month alone, does anybody even actually realize how insanely progressive and bullish and monumental it was for the US?
I could not have predicted this, Andrew, but I'm not sure there's a more politicized issue right now in America than digital assets. Like, let's go back through the month of May. May 8th, the administration comes out and says, we're going to veto a relatively benign bipartisan bill working its way through Congress. President Trump sees that on May 11th and says, there's a place for crypto in my administration. The 90 million Americans that own crypto look at that and say, well, that seems reasonable. The administration, the Democratic Party realizes, oh, geez, maybe we're on the wrong side of politics. They then say, we won't veto an additional bill that's working its way through the House and ultimately passes the House. President Trump then doubles down, says, not only is there a home for crypto, I want to support it. I want it to develop here in America because I want to support interesting new technologies in this country. Then the administration looks at it and says, well, we have to do something. The Ethereum ETF gets approved also in May. And if you're keeping score at home, and I know this is a dizzying amount of developments, ETH, many years ago, the SEC came out and said, not a security. For the last couple years, the SEC has been treating it as a security. Last week,
real quick, Mr. Rude Puts, thank you so much for the €249. He said, do it like Red Panda, record it and then stream it. Perfect. Appreciate you, buddy.
Approving this ETH ETF definitively is saying once and for all, not a security. So you basically have both parties realizing you have a large electorate, right, mostly male, many non-white, disproportionately non-white, who are interested in digital assets, interested in seeing develop. And so
what did the race have to do with that statement?
Certainly all started with May 11th at Mar-a-Lago, President Trump saying, hey, there's a place here in my administration.
I mean, we've even seen some of the Democrats switching sides and realizing how important crypto is as a topic for this upcoming election. And obviously, you know the old saying, right wing, left wing are all part of the same bird, whatever the saying is, right? At the end of the day, are you really just choosing the lesser of two evils? Sure. I mean, I can go on about politicians and, this is why I believe in self-custody, but I think it's just more of the message that's being sent, more of the fact that they realize that they can no longer ignore this.
In response, you're seeing a softening in the Biden administration to receptivity to talking about crypto. The Biden administration didn't come out and say back Fit 21, but they didn't come out with as strong an opposition to Fit 21 as they did with the SAB 121 repeal, where they came out with a pre-veto stance. So you're seeing just in a very short time period, a steep decline in the vehemence of the Biden administration against being anti-crypto.
So I think you could see the whirlwind that is about to happen, the absolute massive inflows that are about to happen. They're happening right now. In fact, I do have a call with my guy at the OTC desk. He says he's got a lot he wants to go over. Apparently, there's a lot of bullish stuff going on in the background that, these bigger players are taking advantage of, but the little guys have no idea what's going on. So I'll let you know how that phone call goes. I do always enjoy talking to those guys. They're very insightful. But, speaking of how the game has changed and how there's a lot of new institutional money to honestly be allocated, but also thrown around. If you just think about extended Bitcoins, right? So we have barely had the majority of the institutions come in. I know everybody says they're all in, they're not. A lot of them are still waiting. Now, you have guys like Fidelity who are saying maybe a 3% allocation, right? Well, Luke Broyles actually broke down that math at a conference recently, and I think you can see where this is going and why this is a lot bigger than most people even care to
I'm critical of ETFs, but I give Fidelity the credit that at least they're not going with Coinbase. But Fidelity, I think, has been ahead of the curve for many years in regards to Bitcoin. And they're currently discussing with clients
this is huge.
a 1 to 3% allocation, even in conservative retirement portfolios, right? Now, obviously,
that's a big deal.
Been achieved yet? No. Are they anywhere close? No. But that's in the discussion. That's the articles they're putting out. That's the reports. They are investing their own company's dime and their own company's reputation into. And that's a really significant question. Because if Fidelity recommends a 3%, why would we not see other institutions also recommending a 1%, 3%, or 5% in the near future, right? So that narrative will spread. And what's 3% of Fidelity? $147 billion. And again, that is that is a significant amount of money, a significant amount of market cap being raised into Bitcoin, right? And so when, talking 800,000 coins, just a couple years ago, chases, 800,000, a million, or 500,000 coins on exchanges. That is hundreds of thousands of dollars chasing Bitcoin. The number I got here is 588,000. Obviously, it's not a prediction, but it's just that thought experiment that we're having more and more capital with more and more of these narratives changing for an ever smaller number of coins on exchanges, right? And it's important to know, again, like I talked with the government, and then I'll, go to the next slide here, but it's important to know that we think, oh, that's crazy. Even if Fidelity got to that 3% allocation, that's only 147 billion, 500 billion is way down the line. It's important to note the United States of America, my home country, right, where we got the superior dollar, right, the best fiat currency in the world. The United States of America adds $500 billion of unfunded liabilities every 11 days. We think $500 billion inflowing into Bitcoin is a lot of money. We think that's hopium. We think that's absurd. My reminder is that, yes, that $500 billion we're adding every 11 days is not flowing into Bitcoin. It's not going to for a long time. But priced in terms of political currency, there is no top. We're adding more currency all the time. And market cap is downstream of price. And that is, people, even on Wall Street, are missing that fact, that market cap could go up indefinitely if the bids for the Bitcoin to be exchanged go up indefinitely. So the ETFs are not the end. That's the point I'm trying to make. They're just the beginning. Again, the governments are a way bigger deal than the ETFs, and the ETFs are the gateway drug to eventually the government. So, kind of a thought experiment there just for you to think about, right? The ETF's not a big deal for the ETF in of itself. It's a big deal that it's the very big first domino for that viral meme of the, like 5-story domino.
So I just been giving me issues all last night, so I don't know what's going on. I keep saying like reconnect my stream, but I'm still streaming, so I don't know. It just buffers for a minute and then comes back. I gotta unplug it and reset everything. Anyways, last video, I just skipping over the TA stuff, but shout out to Crypto Zombie for that video. We're gonna get over here and see what Altcoin Daily has to say. This is Chamath Polypepetiev, that's how you say his name, I'm not even sure. Explains how one Bitcoin could reach over $500,000 per coin by October 2025. I don't think that's gonna happen, but if it did, I'd be excited.
You should really look at the pattern of Bitcoin after a halving.
Billionaire investor Chamath Palihapitiya explains why after a Bitcoin halving, price tends to go up.
1 month after a halving, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and 18 months after a halving.
And watch today's whole video as Chamath explains why one Bitcoin could hit $500,000 per coin by 2025.
So here's a little Bitcoin price analysis for you guys.
And click subscribe to Altcoin Daily for one video per day.
Really look into that stuff. It wasn't a big deal to me because, like, what are they gonna do? Steal some plumbing stuff? Maybe, but like I was mostly had people on the jobs with them, so I didn't really like. Yeah, I don't hold shit against people. It's kind of not right. You know what I mean? I just did a whole 3 strikes you're out type deal on my end.
As Chamath explains, I'll break this down together with you.
So there's been a couple of halving cycles that have happened, and I asked him to go performance 1 month after a halving, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and 18 months after a halving. And what you notice is that there are these moments initially where essentially when you go through a Bitcoin halving, people are sort of reassessing what's happening and they're trying to figure it out. That's sort of what I would say happens in the first month and roughly what also happens in the first 3 months. But then within 6 months to a year and 18 months of these things, there are these crazy price appreciation cycles that happen. So that's what this page shows, which is, 18 months after the first halving, the Bitcoin price returned 45x. After the second halving, it returned almost 28x. And after this third halving, it returned almost an 8x, which is really incredible returns in such a short period of time. If you go to the next page.
So first off, understand the Bitcoin price has increased materially following each halving, with the bulk of the returns realized between 12 months and 18 months after the halving event, meaning it's very normal to have minimal to no gains or price appreciation the first 1 to 3 months, like now. But also, second off, while this chart is tracking the price return after 18 months, not from cycle lows, but the price compared to whatever the price at the date of the BTC halving was, notice diminishing returns. And I wish Chamath, as he goes on, would do a better job of pointing this out.
You go to the next page. And so if you graph that, this is what it starts to show, which is what is this price performance after each of these halving cycles. Now, why is that interesting? Well, it's interesting because on top of this halving, which theoretically, if history is a guide, we should see some price appreciation. Obviously, the other thing that's happened is we've commercialized Bitcoin. And we talked about this sort of as my big prediction for 2024, which is these ETFs are really going to allow Bitcoin to cross the chasm and have its sort of central key moment, right? And so if you apply the averages, and again, these are just averages, they're by no means predictions. Okay, so I just want to qualify that.
Yeah,
these are
this
just
is not financial advice.
It's not financial advice. These are just guesses.
Data.
We took these and we applied it to the price of Bitcoin. And if you go to the next page, you start to see what could happen if you just take the average of the last few cycles. So because the first cycle was so extreme, and you start to
so you're just doing cycle 2 and 3 here, to be clear.
Just the averages of cycle 2 and 3. And what you start to see is some really meaningful appreciation. And when I talked to Wences about this, how he explained it, which makes a lot of sense to me, is there are a lot of countries that will never look at Bitcoin credibly, even if they support it. The US may be one of those, but there's an increasing body of countries that will become dual currency. And they will look at their local currency, and then they will look at Bitcoin. And they will say both of these two things are needed. One, when you're transacting on a daily basis for random goods and services. And two, when you need to buy a permanent asset that needs to have residual value, you'll use something like BTC. And I think that's a very powerful concept. And if you look at what this price chart could indicate, is that if this thing starts to get to these levels of appreciation, it is going to completely replace gold and start to become something that has transactional utility for hard assets. And I think if you marry that with this worry that some folks have about dollar debasement, you start to see some really interesting opportunity.
So there is altcoin news I need to share with you. Watch today's whole video. But Chamath's point is that Bitcoin could reach more than $500,000 per coin by October 2025, assuming it follows the same price pattern as cycles 2 and 3, really a couple $100,000 per coin minimum, with $1.14 million per coin maximum by October of next year. But this is where I have a problem, because as I said, a more realistic way to assess this information is not by taking the averages, because clearly we're seeing diminishing returns. As any asset grows bigger, it takes more money to move, it's harder to move, and understanding these diminishing, I think maybe a 3 to 4x may just be more realistic. But even if we're trying to play it safe and maybe just say 2x, 2 times the price at the date of the last BTC halving, which was several weeks ago on April 20th, and the closing price for Bitcoin on April 20th was about $65,000 per coin. So just a 2x from that would be $130,000 per coin by October 2025. Chamath, using averages, is going $500,000 per coin. Diminishing returns seems like the safer, more realistic play to me. Again, this is an ongoing story, so click subscribe for 1 video per day, keeping you informed. And as we begin to see cracks in the traditional system, the New York Stock Exchange, Berkshire Hathaway glitched, showing that it went bankrupt today. Actually, it was the New York Stock Exchange that glitched, or the data they were trying to bring on the platform. Chainlink could solve today's time. We're seeing the traditional system cracking. For instance, on March 18th, the NASDAQ faced a 3-hour disruption in pre-market trading due to connectivity issues with its matching engine. The way a protocol like Chainlink could solve this is why pull data from one centralized oracle, or even a few centralized oracles, when
Do you guys hold Chainlink?
offers
Let me
a
know.
decentralized Oracle network solution. We
I
also
don't,
news
personally.
for Ethereum. ARK Invest opts
I hold
out
Ethereum,
of
though.
their spot Ethereum ETF, which was shocking to me as the SEC just mass approved the listings of all spot Ethereum ETFs. Why would Cathie Wood withdraw hers now? Well, in a direct quote, at this time, ARK will not be moving forward with an Ethereum ETF, the spokesperson stated. We will continue evaluating efficient ways to provide our investors with exposure to this innovative technology in a way that unlocks its full benefits. So sort of a non-answer, but the theory is that because the SEC doesn't like staking, and they were only allowing spot Ethereum ETFs if you didn't include the staking in it, Cathie Wood is waiting to unlock the full benefits. And in an update on my crypto journey, I have been staking my AIT protocol, and I just received...
Oh, shut up. All right. You shilling stuff. Well, anyways, shout out to Altcoin Daily for that. Let's get into the recap segment of things because I can't take this stream lagging anymore, to be honest. All right. Bitcoin looking like a $69,350. We got Ethereum at $37.76. Everything's looking great. Perfect. Look at Kaspa. Kaspa's killing it. 17 cents, up 15% on the day. Absolutely amazing. What do you guys think? ETH went down when I read that. Yeah, it went down a little bit. Dude, honestly, $3,700 though. It's real close. It's only about like what, $1,000 from its all-time high. Did it get the 4,000? I forget. 4,000 something, right? Let me see. What did it get to? $4,878. So it's down 22%. Honestly, I think that's going to be an easy target to hit, at least in my opinion. I think we'll break it easily once this whole thing goes through. And again, the ETFs were approved, but they haven't started trading yet, so we still do have a lot in store, to be honest with that. Yeah, nothing else really jumping out at me. What's this one? Ordi is up 5.37% to $49. If anybody's interested in that. But Kaspa, man, Kaspa's been killing it. Jasmine's also been killing it. Not sure if you guys are into that one. 7.66% up on the day, almost 4 cents. And then Brett has been killing it as well. Another meme coin. I don't know if you guys are into meme coins that much. 9% down. Shiba's down 5%. Man, we need Shib to pump. Or Shib to pump. Please, somebody do that. And to recap, Flashbang, Fear and Greed Index is at a 73. Just refresh this. All right. Anyways, guys, listen. I love you all. You're all fantastic. I hope you guys have a great, happy, and safe Tuesday. We're going to go raid Miss Randy Hipper. I got to get my internet figured out, so I got to go reset this Ubiquity setup for whatever reason. I don't know why it keeps disconnecting and reconnecting. My 48-port switch isn't working anymore, so I'm just going to go unplug everything for like an hour and then plug it all back in. So no TV for a bit, kids. Sorry. Guys, have a good day. I will catch you bright and early tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time-ish, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out. Have a good day. Kaspa to the moon.
Perfect.
Eat shit, Gary.